and I'm going to look for visual filter, and we're going to need to make sure that we have the Logos Greek Morphology up. So we're going to go to Morph, click here. I'm finding the Logos Greek Morphology. Okay, then I'm going to type the app sign, and then under Logos Greek we have the parts of speech. And this week we're learning about Greek verbs, so I'm going to go down to verb. And as you can see, it gives me the definition of a verb, which is a word that describes an action, state of being, or the production of a result. And as part of the lesson today, we're talking about the moods. We want to distinguish or filter the moods found in Ephesians and the book of Romans. So we're going to go to the imperative mood, which is the assignment for this week. If I hover over the word imperative, it gives me the definition. And it says imperative in the mood that normally expresses a command, intention, exhortation, or a polite request. The imperative mood is therefore not an expression of reality, but possibility and violation. So imperative mood kind of gives us an idea of how the writer or the author is feeling at the time the document was written. Okay. So in order to filter and distinguish the imperatives, we're going to choose a color to be highlighted. And so since green is my favorite color, I'm going to choose green. Okay. So hopefully all of that is saved. And now what I want to do is I want to go and pull up the English Standard Version Bible that we're going to use. And so I have that as my backup. So I'm going to go here, click open that. And the first thing that comes up is the book of Romans, which is a book in the New Testament written by Paul. And it shows that from my visual filter of imperatives, it shows the different imperatives that are highlighted throughout the entire book of Romans. If I scroll down, scroll back up, you see all of them highlighted there. Sorry, let's go back. It took me out of Romans. So I'm going back to Romans. Okay, so I'm back at Romans. One thing I do want to make sure on the visual filters is that I only have the imperative visual filter. So I'm going to unclick on title visual filter because I don't know what that is. And it looks like I've been practicing, so I have a lot of them here, but I only need, let's say, one of them. So I'm going to click all of those off, and then I'm going to go back to the book of Romans. And as we can see in the very first verse of Romans, chapter 1, we see where Paul uses an imperative verb. Here it's a part. In verse 2, it's promised. In verse 3, it's descended. Verse 4, it's declared. Verse 5, it's received. Verse 6, it's are. Verse 7, it's are. Let's go down a little further. Verse 8, thank. It's actually 2 in verse 8. It looks like 3 in verse 9. So he uses quite a bit of imperative verbs. Now, if you go over and you highlight the imperative verb, it gives you the Greek spelling of the word. Of course, it indicates it as a verb. It gives you the singular, the number, the case, meaning whether it's affirmative, accusative, but in this case is nominative. As we indicate, the mood is the attitude of the speaker. It also, if you hover over the highlighted words, it'll also give you the tense of the word. It'll give you the voice of the word, and we've already highlighted the mood. We wanted the imperative mood. If I go here and I look under the book of Ephesians, I pull that up. Just double check, make sure it's only imperative filter up, and it is. And we see here in verse 1, also in Ephesians, he has an imperative mood of are. Verse 2, there is no imperative. Verse 3, there's an imperative. Verse 4, imperative. Verse 5, imperative, and you keep going. You see all the imperatives used to set the mood of what the author is trying to convey to the reader. Again, if you hover over the actual words, it gives you the Greek. I think this is O, if I'm not mistaken. It's an article. Let's go back here. It's plural, it's masculine, it's the present active participle plural, dative masculine. It tells you all about this one particular verb here. Blessed, make sure, okay. Blessed is the same way. Predestined, it gives you the Greek word. It tells you it is a verb. It's aorist. It's an active participle, singular, nominative, and it's masculine. So it gives you a wealth of information regarding the tense, the voice, the mood, whether it's singular, whether it's plural. What else can we learn about this? It tells you whether it's a present and future, active and indicative. So the visual filters really help distinguishing, grammatical concepts that we're studying this weekend. Based on this assignment, it was to locate the imperative verbs for both the book of Romans and the book of Ephesians, and which I have filtered and I have highlighted in green.